visas had expired and they were being ferried to a relocation camp in El Centro, California to be processed for deportation back to Mexico. Shortly after takeoff, the left engine developed what proved to be a fatal problem, and the plane went down in the Los Gatos Creek Canyon near Coalinga, California, about an hour west of Fresno. The following morning, the New York Times, among others, published an article about that crash. And the article went into great detail, naming the crew and the INS agent, their ages, their hometowns, and occupations. And the article concluded, also on board were 28 Mexican nationals, all of whom were agricultural workers about to be deported. One of the many thousands of people who read that article that morning, the 29th day of January 1948, was Woody Guthrie, who penned what many historians have labeled his last great song. It was a song that I included on that Woody Guthrie album, and as I was preparing to perform in Fresno, I knew the 65th anniversary of that crash and its proximity to Fresno required that I do a kind of special presentation. So I was doing some research on the song before I arrived in Fresno, and one of the things I discovered, and I'd always wondered, is where were those people buried? And I learned that they were buried in a mass grave in the Holy Cross Cemetery in Fresno. So I told my road manager, I said, Tommy, we're going to arrive in Fresno a little early today. And we headed directly for the Holy Cross Cemetery, a place that had been closed for overcrowding since 1967. And as we stared into the vast acreage of headstones, Tommy asked me the obvious question: how are we ever going to find this grave? After a moment of reflection, I said, well, actually, it'll be easier than you think. Just look for a place where there are 28 bodies and no headstones. And as we stood over that grave plot, it occurred to me that these people were being deported because their work visas expired. They had names, and those names were somewhere. It's the same thing that had occurred independently to a young writer from the Valley, Tim Hernandez, as well as Carlos Rascon, who was the director of the cemetery. Independently, we each found those names. And together, along with the generosity of people from across this country, and some of you are even here tonight, I know, we raised enough money to this last Labor Day erect a monument at the site of this grave, finally giving these people their names and a good Christian burial and their families some peace. Now, this is not the story of a good deed. To me, it's a story of how the simple things that we choose to do, like write a song after reading a newspaper article, can keep a story alive for 65 years, so that 3 people, none of whom were born when the song was written, were led to the final solution of that puzzle. The crops are all in, the peaches are rotting, oranges piled high in the creosote dumps. We're flying back to the Mexican border, take all their money to wade back again. Oh, my father's own father, he waded that river. They took all the money made in his life, My brothers and sisters all working the fruit trees. They rode in that truck till they took down and died. Goodbye to my one, goodbye Rosalita, adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. Won't have a name when you ride that big airplane. All they will call you will be Deportees.
Ramon Paredes, Jesus Santos, Jose Sanchez, Miguel Alvarez, Guadalupe Ramirez, Dalmamera Torres, Jose Macias.
Some of us are illegal, and others not wanted. Our work contract's out, we have to move on. 600 miles to that Mexican border. They chase us like outlaws, like rustlers, like thieves. Goodbye to my one, goodbye Rosalita, adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have a name when you ride that big airplane. All they will call you will be Deportees.
Martín Navarro, Apolonia, Asencia. Santiago Elizondo, Salvador Hernández, Tomás Agustia, Francisco Durán, Rosalía Estrada.
Oh, the sky plane caught fire over Los Gatos Canyon. A fireball of lightning that shook all our hills. Who are these friends all scattered like dry leaves? The radio says they are just Deportees. Goodbye to my one, goodbye Rosalita, adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have a name when you ride that big airplane, and all they will call you will be Deportees.
Bernabé García, Severo Lara, Elías Macías, Tomás Márquez, Luis Medina, Manuel Merino, Luis Miranda.
We die in your hills, die in your deserts, die in your valleys, die on your plains. We die beneath the trees and we die in the bushes, both sides of the river. We die just the same. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita, adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have a name when you ride that big airplane, and all they will call you will be Deportees.
Ignacio Navarro, Román Ochoa, Alberto Fregosa, Guadalupe Rodríguez, María Rodríguez, Juan Ruiz, Celado Ruiz.
Goodbye to my one, goodbye Rosalita, adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have a name when you ride that big airplane, and all they will call you will be Deportees.